Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is doing well. So today I want to talk about self-judgment or judgment, one and the same. But the reason why judgment is present is because there is self-judgment first. Not generally, but the things that we judge are the things that dwell within us that we judge against ourselves in some way, shape, or form. So when we have hold on a second. When we have judgment towards someone, when we look at someone and condemn someone, there's something within us about that subject, that particular subject, that we condemn within ourselves. And that's the self-judgment, which is why we judge others. Every single thing that you judge others about is something that you judge yourself about. It's evident. You can see it in your life. You can see it in the lives of others. And the thing is, it's like this. Excuse me. It's like a celestial being. For those who have been listening and you know what a celestial being is. A celestial being cannot have any hatred or anger towards another because it doesn't dwell within the celestial being. And the same can be said for what is considered or known as a demon. A demon cannot give love because love does not dwell within that soul. That is what we label as a demon. The darkness within that soul, the darkness that the soul holds is all that it holds. It doesn't hold any love. It doesn't hold any light in order to give it. It can only give what it has to give. And that's what happens with us. That's how we operate as a soul. So when we judge others, we're judging ourselves. And sometimes we can fool ourselves, we trick ourselves into believing that we don't have judgment by being accepting of others. This is the illusion that we live. In one breath, we can condemn someone for doing the very same thing that we support. And that's the illusion that we have. That we create for ourselves and we live by. And it's very hard to get out of it because we're so used to doing this on a regular basis. Someone can say something like, let me see. What can I pull out of my hat? Some people will say, that person just sells themselves. They sell their body, or they sell their soul to the devil, or they do this, or they're just doing it for money. But there are times in our lives when we do the very same thing, but yet we're condemning another for doing it. And that's my whole point, is we condemn others for doing what they're doing because we have either done it, thought about doing it, or currently in the process of doing it. And it's kind of like we want to condemn another so that others will believe that we're not anything like that. But that's not the truth. The truth is we're more like the very thing that we're condemning. And we don't see it. Other people can see it, but sometimes we can't see it ourselves. And sometimes we can see it in other people, but still can't see it, in ourselves. And can we get over here? No, not yet. So it's just, important to understand how this judgment thing works, how condemnation works. You can't condemn someone of something if it's not within you. There are things that people condemn and you're looking at it like, what's the big deal? Because it doesn't dwell within you. You don't have the same condemnation towards self. You don't have the same self-judgment. So that's the reason why it's not triggering you. But understand, if you're being triggered, if you're having to denounce something, it really dwells within you, and it would be to your benefit and in your best interest if you were to identify what that is. I know you're not trying to get over because you're a little bit close. You're a little bit close. Maybe because I'm in two lanes. I don't know. But anyway, that whole, self-judgment thing is something that dwells within us, and we don't really understand, why it's there. A lot of times the self-judgment comes from other people, meaning how we feel about other people's feelings about that subject. So sometimes we'll condemn ourselves. We'll say, oh, I'm not pretty because this is what society says is pretty, and I don't fit that description, therefore I'm not pretty. Some people will say, well, I'm not smart because I don't fit the description of what society sees as smart. So you can be a psychologist, you can have a degree as a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and someone would consider that person to be smart. And because you're not that, you may not feel that way because you don't have a PhD, or because you don't have a master's degree, or because you don't have a bachelor's degree. You may not feel that you're smart, but that's not true. But that is something that you would use to define who you are. And you will have self-judgment about that because of other people's judgment towards something. But I can tell you for a fact, you don't have to have a degree to be smart, and those who have degrees, not all of them are smart. Some of them make some of the worst decisions, and some who are, let's say, PhDs, they actually make people's lives worse because they don't have a true grasp or understanding in terms of life. They may go to school to, be a psychologist, but they don't understand. All they understand is the textbook. But the soul is not a textbook. And it's so complex and complicated. Or I should just say complex. It's not complicated when you understand it, but it is when you don't. So, anyway, that was just an example. But, this whole self-judgment thing, or I should say judgment of others, it just really stems from the condemnation and the judgment that you have towards yourself. And the way to get over this is to accept who you are. Not to accept, well, here's the thing about acceptance, because, there are people who see things as just one directional, and they'll use this one size fits all, and that's not the case. I know it's easier to say, oh, okay, well, this is what it is, and I'm going to apply this to everything. The soul is so complex, and life is complex, the universe is complex, but it's not once you understand it. But being as many people don't understand the soul, people don't understand what it is, how it operates, how it functions. People don't understand the universe, how it operates, how it functions, the laws that are governing the universe, and the laws that are governing the soul. A lot of these things are not known by the average person. So it's difficult to understand and to put things where they belong. And so they'll try to take one thing and apply it to everything. For instance, someone says, love. One may believe that you're supposed to love everyone unconditionally. Well, that's true. But you have to love yourself first. And understand, if you love yourself first, then you're loving everybody else unconditionally. Because we cannot, well, here's the thing about, and this is my whole point. People will use this blanket understanding or blanket meaning of what love is, and sometimes that means give your all, sacrifice yourself for another, and that's not what love is. But some people believe that. They believe that love is doing something for someone. Love is making someone else happy, making someone else feel special, making someone else feel wanted, which is the reason why a lot of these relationships that people get into fail, because it's not love. An act of kindness will be seen as love, but if you're always doing something for someone and you're not allowing them to learn their lesson so that they can do it for themselves, you're not loving that person. You're actually helping that person stay in one space. This is why it's so important to not empower someone with your power. It's when someone's battery is drained, when someone's depressed, when someone's not feeling good about themselves, we don't want to say, here, link into my battery, link into my soul, link into my energy, and just live off of my charge. Because if you do that, it's going to drain very fast, very, very quickly, because of the amount of love or the lack of love that you have within your being. Now, we may feel like we're loving. We're like, oh yeah, I do this for this person, I do that for that person, and I do all these things for everybody else, but you have to understand, or they have to understand, what they're actually doing. Because some people will do things for everybody else while that person will not do for themselves. meaning the person who's so-called being helped, they are receiving the assistance, but they're not assisting themselves. They're not creating for themselves. So for instance, someone who's on welfare, because I grew up on welfare, so I know it very well. And I've seen different people on welfare live differently. And so we were on welfare, but my mother always tried to work. Like she tried to use it as a tool, because that's what it's supposed to be used for. It's supposed to be used as a tool to get on your feet. But there were people who didn't want to work, and they kept having babies and having babies and having babies, so that they can continue getting the welfare, so they can continue getting more money. And that's what happens when we attempt to help other people, but we're not actually helping them. If we really want to help someone, if we really have love for another person, we will attempt to help them see the reason why they're not able to support themselves, the reason why they're not able to love themselves, the reason why they're not able to manifest for themselves. This is what love is. This is what the Creator tries to do every single day. An attempt to help each of His children to become independent souls, to become not just independent souls, but to become a manifester of our desire. So if we desire to have a home, then we need to do something in order to make that happen. We can't wait for someone else to do it for us, because that means that someone else is generating something for themselves. So yes, we can generate for other people, but really what we're doing is we're generating for ourselves. When we take away some of themselves to create for themselves, to manifest for themselves, we take away their power. And it's really not taking away the power. What we're doing is we're assisting in maintaining the idea that the person doesn't have the ability or the power to create for themselves. That's what's happening. And I learned this back, when I was doing hypnosis, when I was doing the QHHT. I started to realize why people wanted to have a session. And I couldn't do it. I could no longer do it, because I realized that people were just looking for me and the spirits on the other side that were assisting with the healings to do the work for them, not understanding that the emotional injuries, or I should say the ailments that we feel within, or that we experience within our physical body, is a result of our emotional injuries that dwell within our soul. So that which dwells within your soul, you guys heard me say this so many times, that which dwells within our soul is the reason for all things experienced in the physical reality, in the physical world, in this physical dimension that we're in the moment. Everything that we experience is based upon that which dwells within our soul. Yeah, you tried it, but you're not doing that over here. This lady trying to crowd and drive all in the median. not this one, boo boo, not this one. So anyway, that's what they didn't understand, and say they were, and I would do like these pre-interviews before I did sessions, and usually practitioners, they're Dolores Cannon trained in the training, instilled that, hey, we have to basically do a pre-screening and see if these individuals are good candidates for a hypnosis session. And basically what she was looking for was if they had any kind of mental illness where they weren't able to determine reality from facade, from illusion, from delusion. If they couldn't do that, like if they were psychotic, then she wouldn't do a session with them. But I had to go a step further and understand, only because I understood how the soul operates. Only because I understood that. That's the reason why I was able to take it a step further and find out, is this person looking for me, or looking to me to stop their pain, to make their pain go away? It's no different than going to a doctor. It's kind of like, okay, let's just take this as an example. You can continue one can continue sleeping around with random partners, having random sex partners, and they can keep getting STDs and going to the doctor and getting a pill. But that's not helping them with the reason why they're sleeping around in the first place. They just want the pain to go away, but they're not looking at why or how they're causing that pain in their life to begin with. That's the difference. And that's what I was able to see when I was doing QHHT, is these people were not looking to stop themselves from creating the pain. They just wanted the pain to go away. So that means they didn't want to change their life. They didn't want to understand how they were creating the pain in their life. They just didn't want to understand. And so QHHT, well, I should just say this. Because I understand what love is, because I understand what help is, because I understand how we harm ourselves when we attempt to help someone, but in actuality we're harming someone. Like when we harm someone, we create karma for ourselves. And this is one of the reasons why you have these people who are so-called energy healers and even regular doctors who's like, you can go to a doctor and that doctor can be overweight. The doctor can have all kind of medical conditions, and they don't understand why. They do not how are you a doctor to help people in their sickness, but yet you can't help yourself? It's because it's not understood. It's not understood what they're doing on a regular basis. When you help mask the reason why the pain exists, you will pay for that, because we're partaking in something that is unloving. And this is just the way of the universe. This is not anything new. This is the reason why we're so degraded in this moment. This is the reason why humanity is in the state that it's in today. It's because we do not understand the things that we do. And I always think back on that Bible verse, or it's actually the words of Jesus. And I don't know if it's actual words or not, but it's in the Bible. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that is so true. And I hold this with me all the time, because I know and understand that people do not know what they're doing, which is why they're doing it. Someone may say, well, you know, I know there's a risk of getting the STD if I sleep around, but whatever. Like, they truly do not understand what is going on. And that's just the physicality of it. That's not even addressing the degradation within the soul when that happens. Like, when you put yourself in someone else's bed and you don't know who they are, you're basically just giving your body, like, you don't respect yourself. And it's hard to say this to someone who's doing it, because they don't understand it. They don't see it, because the pain is too great. The pain is too great, and they cannot see the pain that they're creating for themselves and that dwells within their soul. The only reason why they're experiencing pain is because they have pain within their soul. And the only reason why they keep doing these things is because they don't understand the pain that dwells within their soul. They just don't get it. And so this is why it's so important to understand this judgment thing, because anytime we condemn anybody of anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's the color of their hair, the texture of their hair. It doesn't matter if it's the clothes that they're wearing. It doesn't matter if it's the degree that they hold. It doesn't matter what it is. Anytime you condemn someone of something else, it's because there is something within you that you're lacking. There is a self-judgment. And by condemning someone else, we take the spotlight off of ourselves. We don't feel as we do not feel as inadequate as we do when we don't condemn someone. That's the only reason why judgment and condemnation is even a thing, because we don't want to see how we really feel about ourselves. And you know this acceptance thing, that's what I wanted to talk about. So acceptance, accepting who we are. It doesn't mean just accept the pain. Some people say just accept who you are and move on. No. It's not just accept that you feel you're ugly. It's not just accept that you don't look like everybody else. It's not just accept that you're not smart, or that that's just how you feel. That's not what it's about. Accepting yourself for who you are is just accepting where you are in this moment. That's all it means. Or that's all it's supposed to mean. Some people just say, hey, you know what? This is just your life. You're poor, you're broke, you struggle, life is hard. Just accept it and move on. No. I say no. Accept where you are. Don't deny where you are, because a lot of people try to deny where they are by trying to live a life that is different than how they truly feel and how it truly is. This is why people will go out and spend money that they don't have. Like, here's the deal. This holidays are coming up. Right around the corner. Christmas. People are going to sacrifice their rent money, their bill money, in order to buy gifts for people, for their children, for family members. It doesn't matter who it is. Sometimes co-workers, because they don't want to admit the truth that they don't have the money to truly do that. They don't have the means to do that. And so this is one of the ways that we deny who we are. We don't want to accept where we are. But accepting where we are just gives us the opportunity and the ability to change who we are, so that where we are changes as well. Because where you are is only based upon where you are in your soul condition, in your state of being. This is the only reason. Because of how you feel and believe about who you are. That's it. That belief, that self-doubt, that self-judgment is the reason why people are where they are right now. It could be you don't feel you're worthy of a partner, so therefore you don't have a partner. You don't feel that you're good enough. You don't feel that you're attractive enough. So therefore you have a life where you don't have a partner. And every time you see someone you like and you want to be in a relationship, you say to yourself, oh, well, this person's not going to like me because I'm ugly. This person's not going to like me because of this disability. This person's not going to like me because of this. And it's not true, because here's the thing with acceptance. Once you accept who you are, or what you are, or your condition, or wherever you are in the moment, once you accept that, you can now move on to a different place. You can now move on to healing, because now you've accepted the sickness. Now you've accepted that you have created this for yourself. You have created this environment for yourself. You have created this experience for yourself. And now you understand that you are where you are, but you want to be in a different place. But now you can be in a different place because you're not so focused on creating a facade. What you're focused on now is being in a different place. Not because you want to deny where you are. You've already accepted where you are. And you're like, you know what? I am where I am. I am broke. I am poor. But you know what? I'm not. I don't have to be here. I don't have to live life like this. So I'm going to make changes. I'm going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to start working. I'm going to start investing in myself. I'm going to start doing things that are completely different than how I've been living life in the past. That's what it's all about. And the thing is, once you do that, once you accept you, you will no longer judge others. And if you no longer judge others, you no longer create karma for yourself. Meaning you don't create more negative type experiences, experiences where you experience pain, experiences where you experience lack. Your manifestations start to change. You are no longer manifesting an experience of lack. You're manifesting experiences of abundance depending on the situation, on where you have accepted yourself. When you accept who you are, trust me, all that you desire will come to you. Oh, trust me. There was a joke where I think it was Adele Gibbons. She said accept yourself, love who you are, and she said if you're she said because there's what did she say? Oh my gosh, I can't get the joke right. Maybe if I don't know if I can put it in the video. Maybe I'll put it right. No, I can't put it right here because I can't. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll put it at the end of the video if I can find it. Hopefully it won't get flagged and deleted. But she says something to the effect of there's someone out there who wouldn't mind or who would love to have buck tooth, big belly having whatever, If that's who you are, that's who you are. Trust me, there's somebody out there who's going to love you for who you are. It doesn't matter. Look, I'm sure you have seen, check this out, people. I'm sure you have seen what you consider ugly and what you consider attractive together in a relationship. I'm sure you have seen that. And that should tell you that it doesn't matter what you look like, because look, there are handsome men with what people call ugly women, and there are ugly women with what we call the other way around. Ugly men who are with beautiful women. That's just the way of it. It's just, and the reason why they landed that is because they don't have any doubt that they can get that. That's what their desire was. And they're like, wow, I have that. And it's not even a thought, because it wasn't anything preventing that from happening in the first place. So just be mindful of this judgment thing, the self-judgment, because anytime, and this is the tool to help you see where you judge yourself. That's what this video is about. So anytime you condemn or judge someone for something or about something, understand there's something within you that you're not comfortable with. And that's the reason why you don't like it in others, because you don't like it in yourself. But once you accept yourself, you won't even care about what other people look like or think about you or anything else, anything like that. All right, everybody. So that's it. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Monday. Have a wonderful week. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Bye now.